Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Sports Talk with Eddie. We are live, presented by Our Time Press. And just like the snow, I am back in your screen once again for another fantastic episode. Thank you guys for joining. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share the YouTube channel. Love to hear you guys' feedback, just like I do every other week. 917-319-5481 is that number to dial. We are opening up the phone lines. We got a lot to cover. We definitely got a lot to cover. We got some Knicks. We definitely got to get about the Knicks and just follow up on that tremendous conversation that I had with Bobby, who called in last week. So shout out to Bobby, and shout out to you guys who continue to show love, whether it's through DMs, whether it's just calling me personally, or just calling to the show and just taking time off your busy schedule. I know 5 o'clock is usually a very delicate hour. You guys are trying to beat rush hour and stuff like that. But I always appreciate anybody who takes the time to take the initiative to call into the show and just simply show love to the show, man. Greatly appreciate that. Check out Our Time Press online during the week. The hard copy is out and printed today. Pick up my latest copy. The latest issue that I wrote was a Brooklyn Nets pick. I know a lot of people were getting on me like, "Yo, man, for a Nets fan, you don't write that much pieces." So what I like to do is just try to incorporate things that are like in season. It's kind of like, if you know a particular fruit is in season, you're gonna be more enticed to go apple picking if apples are in season. I don't know if you guys are getting where I'm coming from, but that's where I really like try to incorporate the entrance within the show as far as what's hot within that particular week. Obviously, basketball is in the fold. We got the Knicks, but I also can't forget about my Net fans out there. So I got to show some love to the Net fans. So please check that out. It's titled A Strong Finish. The hard copy is out now. We do have it online, ourtimepress.com, where you guys can check it out and read it if you guys don't have time to pick up a hard copy within the Brooklyn Bed-Stuy area. But it's good stuff. And again, I've been writing for a long time, so I appreciate you guys picking up the copy, sharing that you guys went and picked up a copy, whether it's at your local church, grocery store, supermarket, things of that nature. Greatly appreciate it. So with that said, we are going to get into the top news of today. I want to say around the 10 o'clock hour, we got word that the Jets have indeed traded edge rusher Jermaine Johnson to the Tennessee Titans in exchange for nose tackle Javonte Sweat. Now, for me, this was tough, man, because since he's come out, since he has come out from Florida State back in 2022, I believe he was one of the three third-round picks that we got within that year. And he listen, this guy was a certified football player, edge rusher, really had some promise. I think things started to slow down once he had the Achilles injury. But you hate to see a guy who was pro New York, man. He wanted to be here. He always showed love and admiration as far as his teammates wearing the green and white and just representing New York the best way he can, man. Even through the rough times, which it seems like every year's a rough time if you're a Jet fan, but you guys know what I'm saying more or less, man. Really difficult and tough to see a good guy who was always humbling, always positive, even when it's difficult to, proceed with positivity, considering how difficult it's been, for the Jets within the past couple of years, especially, during his time with the New York Jets. So it's definitely tough to hear that news, but with his contract coming up, as far as like the rookie deal, this is two things that I got from this. One, I'm not sure if the Jets were reluctant to re-sign him to a long-term extension. Two, this kind of really reveals the Jets' hand as far as who they're gonna select in this coming draft. I'll get to that in a little bit, but I just want to touch on this trade. Um, he did put out a statement for the New York Jet fans, and it reads, "New York, thank you for everything, truly. The love I've been shown here for the past 4 to 5 years has been nothing short of amazing, both on and off the field. Y'all will always hold a special place in my heart. Wish all of my former coaches and former teammates the best. Thank all of y'all for sharing the battlefield with me. 11 out." Obviously, 11 being the jersey number that he wore within the past couple of years. Before that, he wore 52. So definitely, it's a rare occurrence where I'm really bummed out about trades. But again, it's one thing to have a guy that you selected, and especially you don't. It's a rare occurrence where you hear these guys that turn out to be good stories, especially third round picks. Is a rare occurrence where you hear someone who has had success considering where he was drafted. So it's really tough to hear the news that he is getting traded, but again, I understand from a Jets standpoint. As far as Tennessee goes, he reunites with Robert Saleh there, so Robert Saleh pretty much know the type of player that he's going to get, and obviously with Robert Saleh, taking his talents and getting another opportunity coaching in Tennessee, it was pretty much a foregone conclusion that he was going to target some Jets players, especially the ones that he had dividends in drafting. So Johnson did put a nice season together in 2023 when he averaged 7.5 sacks, which was good enough for him to get a nod in the Pro Bowl. But within the past 3 seasons, Johnson just managed 5.5 sacks. And obviously, like I alluded to a little while ago, he only played 3 games in the 2024 season with the Achilles injury. So, again, it's pretty much a coin flip as far as wanting to expect someone to have that same type of explosiveness. But again, ACL injuries, Achilles injuries, it's sort of unfair because at the end of the day, we look at these guys as, superheroes and stuff, and we expect, for them to perform the same way that they did pre-injury. But when it comes to major injuries like that, it does take a while, and for some players, you're not really gonna get that explosiveness with a type of injury like that. You only hope that they go on and have a good career and have some sort of consistencies as far as getting back to their old form, if they even get back to that old form. So, from the Jets standpoint, I get it. And listen, it's not like we got him and we just got rid of we're getting a scrub back. Trevante Sweat is a dog. He's a dog, and that's what the Jets need, especially as far as what Aaron Glenn is trying to implement within this defense. 6'4", 366 pounds, and one of the things, amongst many holes that this Jets team has, is stopping the run. So you put Sweat along with Harrison Phillips. Hopefully, this could be a recipe for success as far as stopping the run. 79.3 he ranked as for among defensive tackles, which was really, really good. He ranked 5th out of 134 defensive tackles as far as PFF, which is Pro Football Focus. He averaged 83.4. Now, I want to get into details as far as what PFF means. That way it doesn't seem like I'm saying jibber jabber. So PFF, which is Pro Football Focus, is pretty much a data is a data driving system which evaluates every player on every snap. For example, let's say 60. 60 will be considered league average, whereas something between 70 and 80s will be good to great, and obviously 90 plus will be considered elite. So the fact that he is 83.4 as far as his average, as far as PFF, it's really good. And again, if you're a Jet fan, especially on the defensive side of things, you want to hear something positive and uplifting. So, listen, I look forward to what Tavondre Sweat can bring to this Jets team, and hopefully he can be that run stopper that we need, amongst other things that we need. Obviously, this deal can't not be processed until the new league year, which begins March 11th. But listen, this is the first domino to fall within the free agency, and it's good to see that the Jets are making noise within that. They should have some money coming out the books as far as cap space this year. But again, to me, this ultimately tells me, if you're going to get rid of an edge rusher, you're going to, raise that and select an edge rusher. So to me, unless something drastic comes where they can convince Las Vegas to swap between 2 and 1, which will give us an opportunity to select Fernando Mendoza, I think the Jets are going to go with Arvell Levine from Ohio State with the number 2 pick. It only makes sense after this trade with Jermaine Johnson. This guy, Arvell Reese, is an explosive linebacker slash edge rusher, and pretty much something the Jets need now with the departure of Jermaine Johnson. So definitely some good news to hear from the Jets standpoint. But again, this is obviously me just making a prediction as far as what the Jets going to do with that number 2 pick. Obviously, another name that could be in the mix would be Caleb Downs, which is a safety from Ohio State, or Ruben Bain Jr. Now, I'm a big Miami guy when it comes to college football. Now, as much as I love and admire Ruben Bain, I think the comparisons are a little bit out there. I've heard a lot of people say Michael Parsons 2.0. Now, considering the fact what Michael Parsons has done since he has entered the league, is nothing short but immaculate. So I think it's kind of unfair to put anybody on that pedestal right now, especially coming out of college. But some of these comparisons can be accurate. Some of these comparisons doesn't live up to our expectations. So I don't want to get overzealous as far as that comparison when it comes to Ruben Bain Jr. out of Miami. Again, if I had to make a prediction now, February 26, 2026, it's almost a foregone conclusion that the Jets are going to go edge rusher. In that sense, they are going to select Arvell Reese out of the Ohio State University. So, again, that's one of many moves that I do expect the Jets to make. Another move that came out, well, not necessarily a move, but just something that was just out there as far as Breece Hall goes. Many reports are indicating that the Jets do intend to place the franchise tag on Breece Hall, which I think will cost them about $13 million if they are unable to successfully come to a long-term agreement with Breece Hall. I mean, listen, aside from Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall is the only thing that we have worth being excited about. Again, I know he's going to be 2 years removed from the ACL injury. He's still rather young. I think he's 24, 25 years old, if I'm not mistaken. So, again, there's still a lot that you could work with, when it comes to what Breece Hall can bring to this current Jets franchise and just the roster in general. So I think keeping him in the fold at least one more year. Hopefully, this is a situation where you can keep him in the fold. We all know that they signed Garrett Wilson to a long-term deal last year. So again, you have your top franchise receiver, and then you got your top tier running back in the fold, and hopefully they can work around some pieces. I think they have two number two picks this year in this coming NFL draft. So again, we'll see. We'll see how they do. I know there's been a lot of talks about selecting a quarterback at number two. I don't think that's necessarily the smart thing to do. I think if we do see this Jets team going for a quarterback, which obviously they need a quarterback because I don't see Justin Fields throwing another pass in a Jets uniform this year. Obviously, he has a year on the contract. I do expect for the Jets to either trade or release him before the NFL calendar year comes into play. But again, this current quarterback class this year is not as it's not as sexy. It's not as appealing as next year will be, where you have some good prospects like Elijah Heaven. You got Caven Bryant, Gunnar Rivers, who announced you know his commitment to North Carolina State. For those who recognize the name, yes, that it is Philip Rivers' son. And then obviously, you got Arch Manning, and you just got a lot of really, really good quarterbacks that are coming out in next year's draft. So I think if the Jets are looking as far as long term, I think next year, as far as getting a quarterback, is where they should look forward to. Now, with that being said, okay, who do the Jets go for as far as quarterback this year? A couple of names that I've heard. One name that I'm happy about. One name that I'm saying hell no about. Now, the hell no part is Kirk Cousins. Now, before the Achilles injury that he had, and before Justin Fields, when there was actually talk with the Jets and the Vikings as far as executing a deal that would have brought Cousins in a New York Jet uniform, I was all for it. I was all for it because, there have been sparks where Kirk Cousins, he's had a pretty damn good career in the NFL so far. Has it been elite? I wouldn't go that far in saying that it's been elite, but nevertheless, it's not rather bad. It's pretty much, I think it will be better as far as what the Jets have put out the past 5 years if we were to get him at that point in his career. But right now, he's sort of lost a step. Obviously, he's still trying to get his feet wet back from the Achilles injury, and you've seen Penix Jr., Michael Penix Jr. has pretty much taken over the quarterback duties in Atlanta, which is not giving Kirk Cousins. It's pretty much giving Kirk Cousins the out the window when it comes to Atlanta as far as retrieving him. Now, there still could be a scenario where they sort of try to restructure the current contract or waive him and try to bring him back on a lower end deal. So I wouldn't close the books on that yet. We've seen crazier things happen before as far as Kirk Cousins go. But yeah, it's very interesting to see what the Jets are going to do. Malik Willis is a very attractive name, at least to me. He's probably going to command anywhere from $22 to $24 million a year. If I were the Jets, I would at least make the call to Malik Willis's agent to see what would it take to get him in a Jet uniform and give him sort of a similar deal that they gave to Justin Fields as far as a 2-year deal. Obviously, this is going to be more as far as the annual value average goes. Annual value average goes. As far as Malik Willis, he's 25 years old, and although Jordan Love is and will be the starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, when Malik Willis was in the fold, he showed some promising signs. And again, for a guy that's had some good reps when he was in the game, That's sort of a convincing thing if you are the New York Jets, especially if you're thinking about so going for a quarterback via free agency, which I think ultimately is going to be the direction that the Jets go as far as quarterback quarterback goes. But yeah, you got a lot of you got. I mean, this draft class as far as 2027, I know, and I don't want to seem like I'm getting out of hand not talking about the 2026 class, but just for me, the 2026 class as far as quarterback goes, it's not really to me. It's not really appealing. It's not really appealing. Obviously, Fernando Mendoza is a foregone conclusion that Las Vegas is going to take him number one overall. After that, maybe Ty Simpson out of Oklahoma, but I personally wouldn't select Ty Simpson number two overall. Again, I feel like this is something that the Jets should wait, because you have studs coming out. Arch Manning, like I mentioned, Trinidad Chambliss is another guy that worth looking at. Dante Moore out of Oregon, which I didn't mention. You got Brendan Shoresby out of Texas Tech. So again, really, really good quarterback class as far as next year goes, and I think that's the direction the Jets need to go. But if we're talking about free agents as far as quarterback goes, I Malik Willis is definitely the first name that comes in my mind. Obviously, there's other names like Kyler Murray is out there. Geno Smith name has been thrown out there. The thing with me and Kyler Murray, I just don't know with the injuries that he has had. I don't know what his game looks like. We haven't seen Kyler Murray healthy in about 2 years. So that's another thing that alarms me as far as Kyler Murray. I mean, yeah, he's still in his prime, so to say, but he has dealt with a lot of injuries, to say the least. And listen, maybe it could be one of those situations where a fresh start happens. But again, your prototypical fresh start in New York is not what you would consider prototypical. You obviously want to excel, you want to perform, and we all know how the New York fan base can be. If you do good, you're gonna be praised like a god, and if you don't do good, you're gonna hear about it. Doesn't matter who you are or who you think you are, you're gonna hear about it. That's just how the prototypical New York fan base is. Especially if you come in with a big name, you had the big contract, and you are a quarterback. That's just pretty much how sports in general is set up. If you're a top guy, or you was a top guy one time for a particular franchise, we expect you to be that guy when you come in here and wearing our colors. So, yeah. So I think that's a name that the Jets should look out for as well. Kyler Murray. I'm not 100% sold. I'm more enticed with Malik Willis. But again, I think if there was a top three as far as quarterbacks that the Jets could look at, it would be those three names. As far as Kyler Murray, as far as Malik Willis, and as far as Kirk Cousins go. So it's gonna be. Listen, this is gonna be. I think to me, this is gonna be one of those exciting free agent class goals. There's going to be a lot of names removed out there, but honestly, we'll see. Daniel Jones is out there. Jimmy Garoppolo is out there. Marcus Mariota is out there. Gardner Minshew is out there. So obviously, those are like C-level options, my opinion, and no shade at all. No shade at all. But again, the top guy on my list is Malik Willis. He's highly, highly efficient, even with being in limited action. So I think he will be. I'm hoping, for the Jets' sake, that he will be a potential target for the New York Jets. And again, he's still rather young. I think he's 25, 26 years old. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is going to be something very interesting as far as the free agent window goes. The legal negotiating window is at noon on March 9th, with free agency officially opening at 4 p.m. on March 11th. So definitely something that is a date for you guys to mark on your calendars. Um, Tua, I just name. I hope not. I'm sorry. I just never been a fan of Tua. Love what he did at Alabama, but again, with Tua, it's the same thing. It's pretty much a high risk, high reward situation when it comes to Tua Tagovailoa, and just the concussion issues is a worry for me. And I don't know if the Jets. First of all, it's a rare occurrence for a interdivision trade to take place, despite what Tua Tagovailoa has dealt with from an injury standpoint. But I don't see that happen. It's very rare where you see division rivals make trades within the same division. So I don't see that happening. But as I'm talking to you guys, that just name came into my head as far as possible trade destinations. But again, three quarterbacks that I would think that just could probably look at will be Malik Willis. We got Kirk Cousins. And I think it's obviously going to lead to those two if I had to really put my finger on it, or if I was a betting man as far as putting those two out there. Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't know how much he has in the tank. Geno Smith, obviously he know what it is to play in New York. I think his time, obviously, if Fernando Mendoza gets selected by the Las Vegas Raiders, it's almost a foregone conclusion that Geno Smith will be traded by the Raiders, or maybe they'll have Geno Smith play sort of. I can see them going the same route the New York Giants did last year, where they gave Russell Wilson a couple of starts to see if he still has that Seattle Seahawks magic there. Obviously, he doesn't, and we'll see what happens to Russell Wilson moving forward. And then that's when they decided to insert Jackson Dart, who is surely enough going to be the future for the New York Giants when it comes to that. But again, Malik Willis, Kyler Murray, and Kirk Cousins should be the highlighted names if we had a bingo card as far as who the Jets are going to get via free agency. And again, just to touch back on the Breece Hall situation, it has been reported that the Jets do intend to place Breece Hall with the franchise tag if they are not able to reach an agreement with Breece Hall. And listen, I hope I love Breece Hall. I was just dumbfounded and just devastated when he went down with an ACL injury. It was a foregone conclusion that he was on his way to 1,000-yard season that year. So this should be an exciting season where he's a full 2 years removed from that tragic ACL injury. And again, we'll see what the market is for Breece Hall. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a handful of teams who would love to have Breece Hall in their uniform. But surely enough, I'm hoping that Mogi will find a way to get Breece Hall back in the form and back in New York Jets green and white. So that's the only thing you can really hope for as far as the Jets and the team making moves. Obviously, if we're talking other moves that the Jets should make, wide receiver is another big question. I think you can get a nice, decent wide receiver to play alongside Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson is expected to be at full health come week one after suffering that knee injury early in the season. The Jets elected not to play him, which I think it's very smart considering the fact that he is arguably the face of the franchise. So I like the move that the Jets did as far as protecting him and just what the Jets are trying to do moving forward. yeah, some good stuff. Definitely something that Jets fans to watch out for. But again, do not expect any sort of trade between the Raiders and the Jets go as far as getting Fernando Mendoza. It would have to be a long haul and a trade that the Raiders just cannot pass up on for the Jets to get Fernando Mendoza at number one. And if they do, it's that again, it's pretty much a short thing that they will get. They will select Fernando Mendoza at number one. But I think come April, it's almost a certainty that we should all respect Fernando Mendoza to be in the Las Vegas Raiders uniform. And I think, considering the news that I told you guys about earlier with the Jets, as far as Jermaine Johnson heading to Tennessee and Chavante Sweat in New York, I think the Jets, ideally, you're going to draft Johnson's replacement, and I think that replacement will be none other than Arvell Reese out of Ohio State University. 917-319-5481 is that number to dial. And with that, we're going to shift it off to baseball. And the Yankees made some news as far as one of their top tier pitchers of all time, in my opinion, and that is CC Sabathia. So, according to various reports, the New York Yankees are going to retire CC Sabathia's number 52 jersey, and they are going to also dedicate a plaque in his honor at Monument Park. I think that's one thing that I have to do on my to-do list. I have to find a way to get to Monument Park just to feel that energy, just to see those plaques of Yankee grades, especially me being a diehard Yankee fan. If you guys pay attention to me every week, I pretty much wear a different fitted every week, and probably 50% of the time those are going to be Yankee Yankee hats. Obviously, me being a Yankee fan. Listen, there's no argument. There shouldn't be any argument as far as the Yankees doing this. It's well deserved. His resume, as far as what he has done throughout his career, is pretty much a foregone conclusions. In 11 seasons in pinstripes, he has a record of 134 and 88. 134 wins is 10th, places him 10th all time in franchise as far as win goes. 3.1 ERA. He had 1,700 strikeouts, which marks number 4 all time in franchise. 306 games that he has had, and he was a 3-time All-Star. And obviously, he came in with a lot of noise out of Milwaukee, and he was one of our best contract signings. In 2009, he signed a 7-year, $161 million contract with the New York Yankees, and at the time, that was the largest contract ever given out to a left-handed pitcher. So, again, he did nothing but work wonders for this team. The World Series in 2009, unfortunately, was the last World Series that he won. He posted a 3-1 record with a 1.9 ERA. That was in 3 starts. And again, that ultimately led to the Yankees winning World Series. So, in case anybody's interested in attending that award ceremony, as far as the Yankees retiring his jersey, that is going to be held September 26th. I am not aware at the moment whether that's a day. Usually, when they do retire jerseys like that, it's usually a day game. So I guess we can go on a limb and say that's going to be a 1:00 start. They're probably going to tell people, hey, if you want to see the festivities and stuff, it'll probably be an hour or an hour and a half before game time, obviously, but well deserved. I couldn't be any happier for CC Sabathia. Obviously, he did so much in a Yankee uniform, and he continues to be, an advocate for the Yankee organization. You see him from time to time, talking to pitchers like, Max Fried and Carlos Rodon. Obviously, those pitchers currently being left-handed pitchers. So again, shout out to CC Sabathia and shout out to the New York Yankees for making this all happen, man. I definitely have to find a way to get to be in the building for that because that is something that, historically, and that's just something that I got to find my way to be there. I don't know how, and that's towards the end of the season. So again, I have to find a way to be there and just ultimately just good stuff by the New York Yankees making this happen. And again, CC Sabathia, obviously one of the best pitchers, let alone left-handed pitchers that I've seen in my lifetime, finally getting his flowers with the Yankees retiring his number 52 jersey. And, it makes you think, like, damn, like the Yankees they're starting to run out of numbers, retiring all these great players that, come to the New York Yankees and ultimately have sensational careers with the New York Yankees. So I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to start having to duplicate numbers and stuff like that. But again, just super stoked when I heard the news as far as CC Sabathia. And I just can't wait to whether I go there in person or whether I'm in the comfort of my own home watching it. I am definitely going to be dialed in, but I am definitely going to make it my business to show up to that. Again, that is September 26th, this coming season. It's towards the end of the season. The Yankees are going to retire CC Sabathia's number 52 jersey. So, again, shout out to CC Sabathia on not only having that honor, but just a tremendous career in 11 seasons with the New York Yankees. Now, last week I was trying to get into a segment involving the Yankees as far as what this season could look like. Obviously, the Knicks talk dominated the episode, especially with the phone calls coming in and whatnot. So now I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna fabricate anything. I was not thrilled about the Yankees offseason. If you really look at the offseason, with the exception of Devin Williams and Luke Weaver, who departed across the bridge to the Mets uniform, the Yankees pretty much have the same team that they implemented last year. And obviously, it's sort of bittersweet. If you're looking at it statistically, this is a team that led the Major League Baseball in home runs and runs scored. So obviously, this is a team that is not shy and has the ability to put up runs. Unfortunately, it just seems like it comes via the home run. Now, I'm a big believer that if you're in a playoff series and especially a Yankee fan, you lose in a particular playoff series to a team, you ultimately have to duplicate and figure out why you lost to that particular team. Now, obviously, with the Toronto Blue Jays, they did a little bit of everything. They hit for power. They had sensational pitching. They also hit for contact, runners in scoring position. So they did so much things that ultimately overwhelmed the Yankees, not only in the playoffs, in that playoff series, but just pretty much all year long within this to the Yankees. So, again, the big difference is Garrett Cole, who is coming back after Tommy John surgery. He missed all of last year. And you bring him into the fold. You got Carlos Rodon, who's going to miss probably the first month of the season as he recovers from bone chips that were removed in his pitching elbow. Obviously, you got Max Fried, who had an amazing first year with the New York Yankees, posting 19 wins for the New York Yankees and getting himself some well-deserved Cy Young votes with that year. Obviously, Terry Skubal came on top as far as winning last year's Cy Young award. So as far as pitching is not where the Yankees lack, at least for starting pitching. You got Cole, you got Fried, you got Rodon, and obviously Cole and Rodon, when they are healthy, hopefully this will be sometime in the beginning, middle of summer, where you could put those guys in a float, and then you could add a Luis Hill, a Will Warren, Cam Schlittler, who just burst into the scene and did nothing but amazing things for the New York Yankees as far as starting pitching goes. So again, we'll see how that rotation ultimately falls. If everybody is healthy, it's kind of a really, really good problem to have if you are a Yankee fan, because let's say, obviously, you got six pitches. You got six pitches that you could mess around with. And unfortunately, somebody is going to, well, seven, honestly, because I forgot about David Weathers. And David Weathers was just, he debuted last night for the New York Yankees in his spring training debut and shows signs of consistency, location. He hit the radar gun at 100 miles per hour, and that's always eyebrow raising, especially for a left-handed pitcher. And ultimately, right now, the way things are set up, he is going to be your fifth starter. And obviously, you got to consider him as a part of your rotation, considering the fact that the Yankees traded four prospects to get him. So if you're really looking at it now, as far as the beginning of the 2026 seasons, obviously Max Fried is going to be your opening day pitcher in San Francisco. That is March 25th. So you got Fried. I'm going to go on a limb and say that Schlittler is going to slide into your number two with Will Warren being your number three, Luis Hill being your number four, and David Weathers as your number five. Obviously, that's going to be subject to change once Cole and Rodon hopefully return to form. But I'll tell you one thing, man. If Garrett Cole, if we can get Garrett Cole, especially Beard Garrett Cole from the Houston days, that's going to be nothing short of amazing. And you got to think that this could possibly be at least top five best rotation in baseball. He's been doing some work on the mound and stuff like that. His fastball is topped at 96, which is expected because that's pretty much what Garrett Cole has pretty much topped out of. Eventually he'll hit from time to time he'll hit 98, 99. But again, Tommy John surgery, it's different. Every pitcher reacts to it different. The thing with Cole is his fastball is not your prototypical fastball. It comes with a lot of movement and stuff like that. So if Garrett Cole could return to 2024 Garrett Cole, that is definitely a huge win for the New York Yankees as far as how they go about implementing their pitching rotation. As far as the lineup goes, it's pretty much going to be a mirror of what last year was. Obviously, shortstop is probably going to be played. More than likely, it's going to be played by Jose Caballero until Anthony Volpe comes back. I think this year is, and like I said in a previous episode, this year is a make or break for Anthony Volpe. Obviously, you can give him the benefit of the doubt. He played most of the year with a torn labrum. But again, if he does not perform this year, and hopefully he is back to full health, you probably won't see Volpe until the second half of the season as he continues to rehab and recover from this torn labrum injury that he suffered pretty much the first half of the season and played through it. So, again, you appreciate the grit that he showed because that's just the New York way with, players not making excuses and still trying to go out there and be productive. But again, I think Boone has to pay very close attention as far as who he puts out there at shortstop. I'm looking at spring training. This is probably the first time in like 5 years that I've really took the initiative and paid attention to spring training because, it could be a situation where it could be one of those no-name prospects to play backup to a Jose Caballero. Caballero. I see the Yankees just signed earlier today Werner Brichick to a deal with a non-roster invitation with a possible contract if he were to make the team. He is scheduled to make $2.3 million. So he's got the invitation to spring training. It's been well documented by Brian Cashman that the Yankees are indeed still looking for right-handed bats. So we'll see what this Yankee lineup is about. But obviously, it'll probably be Trent Grisham as your leadoff hitter. I was hoping, praying that there's a way, at least to, before, like 2 months ago, where the Yankees could find a way to execute a trade that will give them a guy like, say, Stephen Kwan. I just love Stephen Kwan. He brings speed, he brings versatility, he brings contact. He has a little pop to his bat as well every now and then. He can steal a base or two. So I just like the elements that he brings, especially what he could have done with this Yankee lineup. But it seems like Cleveland is asking for a lot to ultimately part ways from a guy like Stephen Kwan, which is totally understandable. But could you just imagine Stephen Kwan in that Yankee lineup, especially that current Yankee lineup? But then again, it's like you get Stephen Kwan, you're ultimately putting a guy who's making $22 million a year on the bench. And that's Trent Grisham, who elected to take the Yankees qualifying offer this season. So, yeah. So you got Grisham penciled in. You can pretty much pencil him in as your leadoff hitter. Obviously, the captain and the one guy that stirs the drink for this New York Yankees rotation, and Aaron Judge. 3-time MVP Aaron Judge. Hopefully, he can get a fourth one this year. Health permitting, obviously. Bellinger will probably be number 3. Chisholm will be number 4. And I think 5 through 9. 5 through 9 that's when it gets very interesting, as far as who are they going to mix and match as far as the bottom half of that lineup. Obviously, you got Austin Wells. Hopefully, Austin Wells could bounce back from an abysmal season that he had last year. We'll see how that comes about. Jose Caballero obviously will be towards the bottom half of that lineup, as I alluded to. And again, we'll see ultimately what this Yankee lineup is made of. Bringing Bellinger back was obviously a key contributor, but there's always that health scare that comes with Cody Bellinger, as far as him being injury prone. But if he could be the Cody Bellinger that he was for the New York Yankees, and obviously, I believe there is an opt-out clause that Bellinger has with the New York Yankees. I believe is after the second or third year. I gotta look back at that, but it's a 5-year deal. Ultimately, I think it was 160 plus or $150 million contract. Obviously, rumors were circulating that he was looking for more within, but there was just simply no market. Again, I would have been super surprised if somebody was out there, commanding a $185 million contract for Cody Bellinger, especially at this point in his career. He's creeping up in his 30s and whatnot, and obviously with his agent being Scott Boras, and Scott Boras being historically known for trying to get the top dollar for his client. And listen, I'm not one to knock on that. As a sport agent, the plan and the priority is to get your client the top dollar. But if it's not there, it's not there. But again, I think there would have been even more holes with this current Yankees team than that there already is right now, as far as how the Yankee lineup is going to be construed. I think not being able to pencil in Bellinger as far as being that backup guy to Aaron Judge. That would have been really, really a really bad situation for the New York Yankees. Ben Rice, I do expect Ben Rice to hopefully, again, when it comes to this Yankee team, it's all about health. And again, that's probably with all the other major league teams out there, but just the Yankees in particular. Ben Rice, you could expect Ben Rice 270, 20 plus home runs, 80 RBIs as far as what he can bring to the New York Yankees. Ryan McMahon, I've noticed that the Yankees, with the hitting coaches provided for Ryan McMahon, they sort of made his stance a little closer. So it seems like the Yankees, hopefully this can be a situation where they sort of unlock something with Ryan McMahon. We all know he's one of the most elite infielders in the game today. So the defense has not been an issue with Ryan McMahon. It's about him being able to provide some offense within the bottom half of the lineup to go with Jose Caballero and Austin Wells. So again, it's pretty much going to be designed the same way like it was last year with Grisham, Judge, Bellinger, Rice. We gotta, we can't forget about Big G. Hopefully, Big G. There's been reports that came out within the past 2 days that he still struggles, with this tennis elbow. But from what John Carlos has said, he's still looking to have a full season. I don't think that's realistic, especially at this point in John Carlos Stanton this year. He is entering his age 35, 36 year. So I think if the Yankees go into this 2026 season and you get 245, 250, 24 home runs, maybe 70 to 75 RBI. At this point in his career, I'd sign up for that. I sign up for that. And hopefully, it's a John Carlos Stanton that we get that can still have one of those hot stints where he hits 4 home runs and 5 games, especially those pivotal games, down the stretch. So that's something to definitely watch. I do like the fact, and this seems to have gone under the radar. Bringing Paul Goldschmidt was really good because again, the Yankees are starving for right-handed hitters. Now, obviously, Paul Goldschmidt is not the MVP caliber player that he was, let's say, 5 years ago. When he was with the St. Louis Cardinals and the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think that version of Paul Goldschmidt is no longer there, but he's still a guy that can, play first base, that could take the load off of Ben Rice, give him a day off or two within the course of the week. And listen, he's still got a little pop in that bat, and he's still a guy who just destroys left-handed hitters. Him and Ahmed Rosario just have tremendous numbers against left-handed hitters, and that's exactly what the New York Yankees appear to be going for as they enter the 2026 season. So, again, just a lot of good things going on. As far as the bullpen goes, we know about those pieces that are missing. Ryan Yarbrough will probably be the long reliever for the New York Yankees. It's going to be interesting to see how they mix and match as far as their bullpen pieces go, because your best player as far as the relief pitchers go, obviously David Bednar. It's all about connecting the dots and connecting the bridge to ultimately get to David Bednar, who really came out in his own last year and just solidify himself as the New York Yankees closer. Camilo Doval was obviously was supposed to be a big piece for the New York Yankees. It was one of the down the wire moves that Brian Cashman was able to make. Jake Bird didn't really pan out the way we thought. Hopefully, having a full year in the Yankees organization, a full year of being just pampered by the guru, as I like to call him, Matt Blake, as far as being able to fix and whether it's small tools and something that Matt Blake just always excels at, as far as finding small tools to just change within these bullpen guys. So again, and then Angel Cervelli is another move that the Yankees made. He has the power. He has the stuff there. We all know about the strikeout to ball ratio that he provides. Tim Hill. I think Tim Hill doesn't get enough credit. He's not the sexiest name that was pretty much out there in the market, but Tim Hill is just one of those guys that you know excelled last year. I think it's safe to say that he had one of his best years as a pro last year. During the times and stints that the Yankees have put him. You can put him in a guy. Is a guy that can give you two innings. You can put him anywhere between 5 and 7 in those innings and whatnot. Again, he's a guy that I believe that you could put him against left-handed and right-handed hitters, which is very rare, especially for a left-handed pitcher nowadays. Usually, left-handed pitchers is all about matchups and stuff like that, and the preference obviously being against left-handed batters. But Tim Hill is another guy, that I expect good things from for what he does in the bullpen. But the top tier guys for me, as far as the Yankee in their bullpen, is Fernando Cruz, who to me still has the most unhittable, if not the most unhittable split finger in all of baseball. Just sensational. Hopefully he stays healthy. I know last year, he had two IL stints. So hopefully, another year in the system implemented by Matt Blake, he'll get into the fold. I do see him as a possible bridge to David Bednar. So the way I would set up things right now, obviously, it'll be Camilo Doval, Fernando Cruz, and David Bednar. Where, last year it'll probably been a combination of Luke Weaver and Devin Williams. But I'm okay as far as having Duval and Fernando Cruz, mix and match, whether it be 7 or 8. I'm not. It remains to be seen how Aaron Boone is going to place that there. So again, good stuff to see from this Yankee team, and a couple of things that I've seen. Spencer Jones. I'm not sure if he's going to make the team, but those two bombs that he has hit so far is eyebrow raising, especially the one he hit today, where it was out of the parking lot. Somebody's going to have to pay for that window. Hopefully, he'll be nice enough to help whoever car that he hit and that moonshot that he hit today in the spring training game against the Atlanta Braves. So his situation is more probably a September call-up. We have to see where Jason Dominguez goes, because obviously Jason Dominguez right now is your fourth outfielder. We'll see if he has made any improvements last year as opposed to this year. I think the knock that we had as far as Jason Dominguez was he still hasn't really figured it out as far as how to consistently play left field. He doesn't really have that same impact from the right-hand side of the bat as opposed to the success that he has when he's right as far as the left-hand side of the bat. So hopefully that's something that the Yankee hitting coach were able to figure out. He did play winter ball this year. He didn't necessarily have good numbers as far as his average in winter ball, which is a little bit of concern. But then again, you want him to get that reps in preparation for the upcoming season. So, again, good things that we're seeing as far as the Yankees, as far as what their current rotation is going to be like, what their top prospects is going to be looking like. Elmer Rodriguez has been explosive. Carlos Lorange has been really good as far as the stuff that he's been put out there. So, again, maybe those could be possible bullpen pieces towards the second half, or perhaps September call-ups that the Yankees should ultimately implement within their bullpen this year. Guys, that's going to do it for this week as far as Sports Talk with Eddie. Again, check out our Facebook page. Check out the YouTube. Thank you guys so much for tuning in as you do every week. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share to the page. And we are out, and I'll see you guys on the next one.